Hello, everybody, and welcome to, as you know, you clicked on it, the Scotty Survivor recap for episode 9. I am your host, Naomi Calhoun, joined by my other host, Lee. Lee, how are you?
Doing well. This was a weirdly emotional episode for people, and Sarah is on everyone's mind.
Sarah, nope, everybody cannot stop talking about Sarah, this poor girl. I really felt for Sarah in this moment, huh? She was put through the ringer of touchy subjects.
Yeah, you can tell that everyone, well, the other side was really pissed at her, so every negative thing, they immediately just put Sarah.
And you can't take that to heart, I feel like, if you're Sarah, because I think it's twofold, right? They're not blaming Corey, who I would say is the other person who did exactly what Sarah did, and they're kind of taking it out on the woman. But also, it's just they're taking their energy and frustration out on somebody, and like, it's not real, Sarah. People like you. You're playing a good game. It's just that they had 5 and they were voting together. Like, don't worry,
Yeah.
it's okay. Ay vey. Poor Sarah. But we're going to get into all of this, now, right? We're live. So, Lee, everybody's crying because Anthony went home. Meanwhile, Anthony was like, oh, yeah, I could have gone home. I don't really care.
The
But
only
everybody's
person who wasn't
sobbing.
crying.
I know. Everybody is sobbing their eyes out. When you started this episode, Lee, did you think that the sort of foursome of Corey, Leo, Olivia, and Sarah could pull it back? Did you think that they were going to be able to sort of recover from essentially losing the rock draw? Or did you think that it was like, they're screwed. We'll see 3 idols play tonight?
No, I knew that they could easily pull it out because the problem with the other side is never that solid, those 5 players. A lot of them are kind of wishy-washy, or some of them do like prefer to work with other people from the other side, as we've seen in this episode. So
Right.
while they did lose probably the We Love You Anthony least important member of their alliance, they kind of they can easily pull back from it, and now they got a story of played from the bottom, survived a minority, instead of saying, oh, we just swept our way to the end, because nobody likes when the same alliance is just always on top and never goes.
Yeah, that's a really great point, right? Is that I feel like a lot of the time when you're playing Survivor, and let's say you're a majority alliance who just pagongs everybody and takes them all out, there's a lot of like sort of anti your alliance sentiment. But if you're in a situation like, the Glue 4 in Survivor Samoa, where you are fighting against the odds week after week, at some point they have to give you credit and they have to say, well, we were the sort of Goliath that they were up against, and they beat us. And I think that is a really good point. Is like, that's kind of what's going on right now. Is they were a Goliath, they got trounced for an episode, but then they've worked really hard to come back, and you can't be mad at that. They're playing better Survivor, essentially, especially people like Olivia, right, are just
Yeah.
inherently playing better Survivor than the people on the other side, on the other alliance.
I think Olivia this episode shows why she's a better player than one, other people think, and two, the so-called big target in Leo, in how they both went at how to flip Audrey. Leo's thought was guilt trip her. Olivia's
Right.
thought was be honest and be open.
Mm-hmm. But then also kind of pepper in some lies that will essentially, like, it's the lies within the truth, right? That seemingly validate your story, but in reality are just you masking up your lies to make them seem more like truths. Where she says, "Oh yeah, I was always going to go to the end with you, and you were always in my 3, and like I'm sorry that didn't come across." Where in reality, I don't think Olivia really was thinking terribly about protecting Audrey, but now it's very convenient for that story to come out. And you're right. I think that Leo has sort of a Russell Hantz approach in a lot of ways, where he's very aggressive in, I know that this will be emotional manipulation, but that doesn't always work. And I think especially in the end game, when somebody like Audrey has a lot of options, she has a lot of people who would go with her to the end. Being the antagonistic person doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to succeed or that you will have somebody listen to you. And it, again, you're totally right. It's why Olivia has like a real skill at this game, and it's like a pleasure to watch. And it's why we were also like, I think, terrified that she might go home this episode, because we were like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, they definitely targeted again, I feel like I said this before, where I can't remember where I said this, but they targeted the wrong person. Because targeting Olivia is somebody Audrey doesn't want sent home. If they targeted Corey, Leo, or
Sarah.
Sarah, but everyone felt guilty for Sarah.
Yeah.
So if they targeted Corey or Leo, somebody who Audrey doesn't really have much connections with, then she wouldn't have flipped. However, let's say they targeted Corey, then May probably would have flipped.
Yeah. And that's like why I think that Olivia is very, very smart to pick up on needing Audrey and needing Audrey's trust again and rebuilding. And it's a really, really smart move, right? Like, I think that, I think Audrey also, we're going to talk a lot about everybody's options in the end and like how they can win, who are they going to go with, how are they even going to survive the next vote, right? And I think Audrey actually put herself in a fascinating spot because she has tons of options. People would still want to work with her because I do think there's actually something to the flip-flopper position where if you are nice enough and you're not just flip-flopping and sort of screwing everybody over to screw them over, right? Audrey is flipping because she knows that it's better for her to stay around with the threats and then she'll get out the tighter pairs. This is all to say that I think that there's something to flip-flopping back and forth between alliances and not upsetting people, where Audrey could very well make it to the end and maybe have some people's respect. I don't think she'd have like Leo's respect, but I think that if, Audrey made it to the end and Olivia was on the jury, I think Olivia would be very receptive to giving Audrey the win. I think that Audrey is not playing a bad game right now.
She really isn't. And this is coming from somebody who said she would have been the first boot because she's too naive. I still think she is a little naive, but
yeah. I mean, aren't we all at 18, right? Like, you join college and you're like, oh, everybody will be super nice to me all the time, and then it's not true. And you're
no
like,
one's going to lie to me. Like, why would they lie? We're all here having fun.
It's just a game. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a game in touchy subjects. It got personal.
Yeah, this was a lot, and great segue, because touchy subjects is a game. Okay, so first of all, I really like this format change. I don't know about you, because I've done it in Survivor New York where you do 3 chops and you're out. I actually really like 5 chops. It gives more opportunities for more people, because I think once you lose 1, then it's very easy to just go 2, 3, you're out. But when you have 5 and you lose 1, then it's like, oh, I gotta hit them 4 more times. They're certainly gonna hit me back. And it creates a little bit more of the, like, you can't just easily pick somebody off unless you really work hard at it. Did you like the 5 chop sort of adjustment to this touchy subjects version?
It was better. I'm not a fan of the chopped one because, as we saw in this episode, people just follow whoever goes first. It's like, oh, this is the first name said? Okay, I'll just piggyback off that because I don't want to piss off everyone. I prefer it how most other college survivors do it, where it's just a point-based system. And I also prefer that way because you get through all the questions as well.
Yeah.
So if there's like a big question near the end where it's like, who's most likely to win? And we don't get to hear that because everybody's gone already.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer point space over live space because people tend to just become sheep and follow along.
Mm-hmm. And who won immunity this episode? I
Audrey.
Audrey, that's right.
Congratulations on your first win.
Yay. And now it goes on to the little breakdown chart that I wrote.
Yeah. This was Audrey's episode. Won immunity.
It really was.
Yeah.
As much
as we can say, like, oh, Olivia's playing great. Olivia's always the best. Olivia brings it every episode. Audrey also brought this episode.
Exactly. And that's, again, I think that like Audrey using 9 as an opportunity to flip is very smart. People talk a lot about 7 and talk about flipping at 7. But I think flipping
seven's always the big move time.
Right.
Like, oh, we're going to get them at 7. 7's when something's going to happen. No, something's going to happen when you make it happen.
Right. And so I think that something to think about here is that, like, Audrey flips to a side with 3 immunity idols, but I would say objectively 3 of the biggest threats in the game, right? Olivia, Leo, and Sarah, people whose names have been on the chopping block, but they haven't been voted out yet, but people want to vote them out. People who have made moves, have done, certain things, and also have worked with Audrey in the past, where Audrey can kind of trust them. She has a little bit of a knowledge base with them, not necessarily, I think, as deeper relationships with them than compared to like Hallie, May, and Dorothy, right? Like Audrey.
Well, her and Hallie were close in like the beginning. Like she was
Right.
sharing the idol clue with him.
Oh yeah.
But I think what happened was swap. Audrey was on a tribe with Olivia and not Hallie.
Yeah.
And during that swap, they got close and became Ohana. What is with alliance names coming up with Ohana? It's like,
look, it's
one of
Disney.
the most common. Like, I love Lilo and Stitch. It's a nickname I had.
I know.
Like,
I like
Ohana, Core 4. It's like, come on, be more creative.
Yeah, if you're not coming up with names like the rock stars, like, don't talk to me. Like, we need exciting alliance names, please. Like Jam, you're not Jam.
Yeah.
Come up with a Jam.
Yeah, bring back Jam.
Bring back Jam. Well, and this is something that I think is really interesting, is that like Audrey has a lot of power, and I think that next week she could very well swing back to the side of Hallie, May, Eric, and say, like, let's vote for Leo, right? And the big problem here is that they don't have the power of the idols, but I do think that Corey could be convinced by somebody like May to take out Leo, right? Because Leo and Olivia and Sarah are in this hierarchy. They're the top tier of this side, right? Olivia is putting her neck out there for Sarah, and she's putting her neck out there for Leo a little bit. Corey needs to take a spot in that 3 if he wants to be more protected. And I would say that it is in Corey's interest to take out Leo, because I think that Leo would take out Corey in a heartbeat. And I mean,
he would have last week if Corey didn't win immunity.
Exactly. Leo has no allegiance to Corey, and I think that it is in Corey's best interest, and I think Audrey's best interest as well, to take out Leo and sort of cement themselves one step further up on their sort of hierarchy.
Yeah. In a way, in Winners at War, how Tony took out Sophie. He took out a member of Sarah's hierarchy, so he can be in there. Well, great move. And I wanted Sophie to win so bad, but
I did too.
Bring back Sophie. Wait, didn't Sophie play a college Survivor Brooklyn?
So Sophie played not a college Survivor, but a live reality game in Brooklyn, in Prospect Park. Friends of mine that ran it with Zeke and Andrea Belke.
Andrea.
And she won, if I'm not mistaken. And
yay,
queen stays queen.
Wow, 2 survivors.
I know, right? You could never. Your fave could never. Except for Sandra Diaz, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's talk about I want to talk about Hallie, May, and Eric for a second, and Dorothy, because R.I.P. Dorothy, but she's not gone until the end of this episode, so we should acknowledge Dorothy.
Yeah, she's still here for now.
She's still here. This group is very interesting to me, but I feel like what the other side has that this group does not is they don't have a core. They don't have a guiding light, a guiding principle that keeps them together and helps them all operate on the same wavelength. Lee, what do you think about this group, and maybe why they kind of had a downfall this week?
Yeah. I think the thing was with this group, they all had a common enemy in wanting Leo gone. They all had a common goal. But after that failed, it was just like, okay, well, guess we could stick together for a vote.
Right.
It's like knowing that, like, well, these are the only people I work with, because there's no way these other people on the other side are going to work with me.
Yeah, there's a real sort of like marriage of convenience aspect to it, but nobody really thinks that this alliance will get them to the end, except for maybe Eric. I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like anybody actually believes in the group they're a part of. And I do think, again, that's why Audrey is very smart for flipping, because she knows that this group doesn't have their shit together. And to an extent, that's not going to save you when it's down to 5, and like nobody will like save you in the end. If that makes sense, right? Like Hallie and May are not going to save you. Dorothy's not going to save you and take you to the end. I think that like the only person there who has any ties to Audrey is Eric. Hallie to an extent, but Hallie and May take priority, right? Like their relationship takes priority. So Lee, who do you think is in the best spot of this group that isn't Audrey now that this game is over? Is it May? It's May?
Yeah, I think it is May, because she still has ties with Corey and Sarah. Like she said in this episode, like, yeah, she said, like, yeah, they screwed me, but I still want to work with them.
Yeah.
So May still has ties. Audrey has ties. Hallie doesn't have a tie with anyone. Eric is, I think, universally hated by the other tribe. Although I think Corey wants to work with it. I don't know their relation. Their relationship is weird. It's like one episode they're fighting, one episode they're working together, another they're talking. It's like a weird marriage.
Yeah, it's a very strange relationship. And did you see Corey also, speaking of Corey had a really funny sign behind him.
Oh yeah, it's like you can tell he's been watching Mason Confused.
Yeah, that went too far, it says. That made me laugh.
Oh yeah, that was after Touchy Subjects with everyone piling their hate of Sarah.
Yeah, it's Corey is growing on me. I don't know. Is Corey growing on you as a character?
Yeah. He's there. He fills some spots. I'm not getting much from him. Yeah, he looks nice.
I think Corey is growing because and to this whole cast credit, and people say it on YouTube as well, in the comment section, they say like everybody here is playing hard. Everybody here wants to win. And I would say that's true for like Zoe as well, right? Zoe wanted to win. Everybody is playing to get to the end and to have a shot at the Xfinity gift cards. And we are and we're getting the product of that, which is a good season of College Survivor. And I think that like kudos to everybody. And you know, Shane knows we love him, but like Shane and Govan, this is a great cast, and that this is
did a good job.
Yeah, exactly. An interesting bunch who are delivering every week.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this end game is so tricky. It's my little piece of paper. It's so tricky.
Holding up that paper.
I know. I feel like this is like my like Shane Powers like BlackBerry phone piece of wood. I'm like,
remember when BlackBerry was a thing?
Yeah, I used to play on my dad's BlackBerry all the time, like because it had like Brick Breaker and stuff, and he would be like, "Where's my PDA?"
I think my sister had one when it was out.
I didn't have a phone. Girl, I didn't get a phone. Okay, this is the other thing. Like kids these days. I didn't get an iPhone. Sure. I didn't get an iPhone until I went to college. That's how like
I still never had gotten one. Like my first phone wasn't until after my confirmation when I was 12, and that was like a Samsung Mini.
Yeah. Like I didn't get a phone until I went to high school, and then I didn't get a phone as iPhone until I went to college, and even then it was like my sophomore year. Like I was walking around with a flip phone on campus. Like
my phone right now is a Nokia.
Oh, that's cute, but that's like
that's because it's cheap.
Exactly. Amen. That's my favorite thing is like people when they're videotaping themselves like I didn't have an iPhone in college. Like, oh my god.
Like I was in college when I was allowed to go to college. My photography teacher was like, "You can take pictures with your phone. You have iPhones." So I'm sitting here like, how much money do you think I have?
Yeah, girl. I'm trying to buy other.
I'm trying to get a plane ticket.
I'm trying to get the hell out of here. So when it comes to so let's talk about every single person and their end game now, right? Because
Dorothy's first. It ended.
It ended. But I was just gonna say, I think eliminating Dorothy this round and targeting Dorothy is a good move for the Majority Alliance, right? Dorothy was never an active member of their alliance in a way that would benefit them. And I think to some extent, like, Dorothy wasn't really on board with Leo. And I think that losing Dorothy is fine because she is also probably, like, I think a lot of them are very smart, but I think Dorothy's probably one of the smarter people of that group, right? If you're going to target somebody who is maybe smarter and good at making plans, you should. And
The only
eliminate
time
them.
she really worked with Leo was just when they swapped first.
Right, and they needed each other to survive.
Yeah.
Is there somebody else you would have taken out in Dorothy's stead if you were on this game in this game?
If I was not that I can think of, I'm just always curious, like, why were they blaming her for everything?
Yeah.
That was always my thought, like, why is it Dorothy's fault? There's 4 other people that voted with them. And they said before, like, Hallie's the one that holds the group together.
Yeah. I guess that you would think that the only reason that they don't eliminate Hallie is because it's essentially Sarah wants the wiggle room to dump to Hallie and May, right? Does that seem crazy to you? Like, Sarah wants to not lose the May relationship throughout all of this. I don't know. I don't think it's a great move. I think if you take out Hallie, then May has nobody but you, and essentially wants to work with you.
Yeah,
but if
you
that's
just
how
voted her and then voted off someone she was close with.
Yeah, exactly. But we have first on the list is Corey. There's Corey. Who does Corey need to go to the end with to win this game, do you think?
The people he's not working with.
Yeah, I think Corey could go to the end with maybe Hallie. And I honestly maybe Leo, but I do think it's in his benefit to take out Leo.
I'm just trying to think, if Leo is in the final 3, will people still have this he's a big threat, or like, obviously watching we kind of see like he's not that good playing. He's decent playing, but he's not like the best. But in game people are all like Leo's the biggest threat.
Yeah, my other thought is, would Leo deliver a final tribal council performance that would be too grating? Because I think Leo can articulate his points well, but sometimes people are either not good at articulating their points, or they're very, very cocky, and they can lose, and they can come across as somebody you don't want to vote for. And I wonder if that if that could affect Leo if he's in the end, and if you kind of want to milk that, right? Because you could almost pull like a not like a Chrissy Hoffbeck, but like just at Final Tribal Council be like, oh yeah, Leo and I did all of this together. He didn't do anything with me. And Leo just gets mad and like loses his train of thought because he's so upset with you lying about him. I think that would be funny just to like get him to fuck up his own game. But Corey, I think, could take Eric. But I feel like if you take Eric, then you risk people like Audrey or Zoe voting for Eric in a way. I don't know.
Wasn't Corey and Zoe closer than Eric and Zoe?
Yeah, but
they found the idol together.
Yes, but Corey also didn't play it for her, so I'm wondering if I don't know how Zoe feels. I mean, I think Zoe's a very smart, rational human being, so it could be that she is fine with it. But like, I don't know. I don't know whose votes Eric gets at the moment. So to me, Eric is tricky, especially what'll it be? So if Corey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like what, 5 and 6, old Balder and Ogun?
Yes, because that's how the first vote was.
Right. So if you're the only Balder in Final Tribal Council, you get the 4 Balder votes. Or if you're one of 2, are those 3 votes just going to you or somebody else? Like, this is kind of what I'm thinking about. Like,
and even if he is the only Balder vote, can't speak English. The only Balder person there, will he get the Balder votes? Because if he's sitting there with somebody like Leo or Olivia, the Balder people may vote for them over him, and just really depends on who he sits next to.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to Leo. Who do you think Leo beats in the end?
That is a very good question. I'm trying to put my headspace in them and not as a viewer. Because as a viewer, I can kind of say no one, maybe Hallie. I feel like we're going to say that a lot. Like, who can this person be at the end? Hallie, probably. But in the game, I think if Leo, I don't think Leo will be anyone other than Hallie. Maybe Audrey, because I don't think people see her as a player yet. Potentially Corey, depending on his speech. Olivia, no. I'm trying to remember who else isn't. Sarah, maybe Sarah, because I don't think Sarah will get the respect from a jury. Although if it's two of them, it's like whichever one. She may get some. She may get some Balder votes. That's a problem with Leo. I don't think Leo's going to get a Balder vote from a jury member, except maybe Corey. Because he's not that close with any of the Balder people except Corey.
Yeah, that's, I think the big thing is I don't think that, I guess it really comes down to what we'll eventually see is like, can Leo articulate his point of view in a way that doesn't upset people who might already feel slighted by the moves that he's made? And it's one of the great signs of a Survivor player if you can't convince somebody to vote for you after you've hurt their feelings or hurt them in the game. And I just don't know if Leo can do that with essentially 3 votes. And so what's it going to be? So, all right, let's go back to the paper for a second. So we now have Dorothy, Anthony and Zoe on the jury. So we have 3 jury members. We're going to be at final 8, which means that we lose 5 more. That's 8 on the jury and 3 in the finals. We could see 8 and 3. We could see 9 and 2. Oh boy. I bet, you know what? And I bet you Shane would do that. I bet you Shane and Govind are such super fans. They're like, we're going to do a final 2. Like, we're going to make it.
Yeah. Because I think most people prefer a final 2 because the final 3, there's always like somebody who just gets 0's votes. And it's like, why are you there?
Yeah. And that's one of the beauties, I think, of early Survivor Maryland, right? Is doing the final 2 and really making it like a contentious battle between 2 people. And so I would be very curious if this is the final 2. Boy, howdy. I think that would make it a lot easier for certain people to win because I think that Leo could maybe beat Hallie. I think Leo could beat Eric if he tried, but I don't know that Leo could beat Hallie and Eric at the same time. Like, it's very interesting. Okay. I'm going to say it. I think it's the final 2. All right. That's my bet.
Yeah. It does look like a final 2 would make sense. I feel like.
Yeah, and
the first season.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's a little more Survivor, but at the same time, I think that if you have enough time in the semester, it's worth it, right? It's worth it to do 1 more vote, to have 1 more situation where somebody can go home and have an interesting, moment of Survivor. I think it's worth it as a game creator.
Give us that final 3 endurance challenge. I do love, not to talk about Maryland, but I always do love that when they do that lamppost challenge every season.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It was so great on Survivor Michigan last year on season 3. I love that version that they did.
Sorry, Aaron.
R.I.P. Aaron. But I also love like the just, you're on a cement brick, you got to hold your hand on this thing, go.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I think it's the reason why people really loved Australian Survivor, right? Is because after all this time, you're not lucking out with the final 3. After 20-something vote outs, you're not lucking out with the final 3. It's the final 2, and you have to really work your ass off to get to the end. And so I would love it if it is a final 2, and if it's not, we're going to look like a bunch of ding-dongs. But I think it might be. Worst case scenario, it's like a Chris Noble, or it's like a Dom and Wendell tie, and then Laurel casts a deciding vote.
When you said Chris Noble, I immediately thought of 38 and was like, no, that's Underwood. Which one was Noble? And then you said Dom and Wendell. It's like, oh, that season.
Oh, that season. What about Olivia? Who do you think Olivia has the best chance of beating in the end?
Everyone. Olivia goes to the end. She's winning. It's a guaranteed.
I think Olivia could beat everybody. I think she has the best chance of beating Audrey or Leo.
Yes.
Or maybe even Corey if he doesn't play the idol correctly. If Corey, Corey doesn't have a ton of stuff on his resume. No offense to Corey, but like if he doesn't play the idol correctly, he doesn't have a lot to sort of tote as something to win with.
Yeah, that's the thing with Corey. It's like I can't think of what he can talk about.
Right. Which,
like
he's a good dude, but
yeah,
we know
you're nice.
You're good guy. Good guy.
Yeah. Oh wait, was this the episode where he got drunk and spilled stuff to people, or was that last episode?
I think he got
drunk.
I getting...
Oh no, I think I'm thinking Michigan.
Well, no, he did. I think he did get drunk, but what did he say?
I can't remember if it was this episode or last episode.
I think he and Sarah revealed to each other, right, that they have idols. Yes.
I think. Oh yeah, that's when they were conversation. They were playing some Blackpink, and I was like, "Yay, they have good music taste." They were playing Ice Cream. I was listening closely. I was like, "Wait a minute, is this Ice Cream?" Yeah, it is. Yay!
I'll talk about it. I actually am doing a Michigan recap later tonight, but they're playing "For Good" from Wicked in the background of Survivor Michigan this episode, and I was just like, I can't believe my theater dork brain recognized that almost immediately. Like an instrumental version as well, not actually even the regular music. It's just
Same
like, oh
with
god.
me with this episode. I could barely hear it. It was like, wait, my K-pop senses are tingling.
Spidey K-pop. Well, I think actually that Corey, if Corey can do something like take out Sarah or take out Leo, I do think that Corey will add things to his resume that, could cement him as somebody who deserves a win. But right now, and if Olivia can keep the sort of lid on him, he hasn't done enough, I think, to beat somebody like Olivia. Let's see if he can do it. Let's see if he can pull it off. Because especially if there's a final four, right, and then it's a final three, you can still take out Olivia at that final four spot. Olivia can still be a Rob goddess. Like there's still chances.
Yeah, we're hoping she doesn't.
We're hoping. We're all praying every night to our candles that it doesn't happen. But it could definitely happen.
It could. It just would suck if it did.
I think that Olivia needs to put. Well, Olivia. Okay, if Olivia's in the end with Sarah and Hallie and May are on the jury, I think that Hallie and May could sway a little bit to voting Sarah and try and get some other people to vote for Sarah. So maybe it's not like he proved Sarah to the end.
Yeah.
But
I can see May voting Sarah in comparison to those two. Hallie, I don't know because we never seen an interaction with Hallie with Sarah or Olivia. And Hallie was pissy with Sarah because he was one of the people that wrote down her name for every negative comment in touchy subjects.
Yeah.
So if Hallie's on the jury and those are the final two, I think it'd be, will he go for someone that he's never talked with or someone that he doesn't really respect the game that they played so far?
And so jumping over, who do we think Sarah can beat? Who do you think Sarah should go to the end with?
This is tough because Sarah is playing a good game. The problem is the other players see it as a bad game. Or it's like they don't like it.
Yeah, this is like... this is her dilemma, right?
Yeah, so it could be a situation where it could depend who she goes against, what she says at the final, or it could be a situation where everyone's like, doesn't matter what you say, we're not voting you anyway because I don't really respect the game you played.
Yeah, she could almost be in like who's a comparable I'm like trying to think of who a comparable, maybe even like I guess like a Mitch or a Brittany from Michigan 1 in a way where like you just nobody will give them the sort of credit they deserve. I mean, Mitch gets some votes, but like Brittany really got no credit for what she really did well. And
she did a lot of things well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shame. Sarah's playing a great game right now. I think Sarah has taken control of what's going wrong for her and turned it around. And I have to give kudos to both her and Leo because what they've recognized is like it is in our best interest to work with each other right now. and we got to put aside everything that happened in the past to work with each other. And isn't that kind of what you want in Survivor? You want to be able to look at somebody and say, hey, logically, right now, Lee, you and I should be working together, and we can do something about it, and have that other person be logical in the same way and work with you. So I think Sarah is playing a great game, and I do think Leo, to an extent, has made a very smart move in working with Sarah, but who knows how Sarah can come out of this, like, and not have everybody mad at her.
Yeah.
Ugh, this is a brutal, touchy subject. You got to put in fun ones like who do you have a crush on, and like
who's most likely to get married, who's like the most attractive in the cast. Oh wait, what season? I think does Maryland do that like every season? They always put like who's the most attractive. That's
funny. We always do in Survivor New York. We do who do you have a crush on, which was very funny in the Blood versus Water season because somebody was God. I'm not going to write my brother's name, but I do think he's the answer. Oh no! But
like, do you approve?
Oh man, just it's touchy subjects for a reason. And
make it awkward.
Don't make it weird. Not mean, just weird. So then we also have Hallie on my list. Mr. Hallie.
Mr. Woo. Hallie Woo. Holly Woo.
Holly Woo. I love Hallie. I think that Hallie could be pretty beaten by most anybody. Yeah. The thing is not necessarily that his game is worthy of votes, but I feel like if he gets to the end and people like May and Eric are on the jury, I think there's a chance that he scores some votes from them. Now, I think May is a very rational player, and I don't want to just keep painting her in the corner of like
you're only going to vote for your friends.
But I do think May is very emotional, and I think that if people appeal to her emotions, that I think they could get her vote. But maybe she'll sort of overcome that and be, what's to say, like a little bit more a logical juror, or somebody who votes very pragmatically and doesn't vote with emotions. But I do think that May could possibly vote based on friends, and that's fine. Yeah. That's a valid way to play Survivor. Yeah. But that's kind of how it seems like it's boiling down for me.
It does seem like May is someone, as much as like she's great, we love her, she could win depending on situations.
She's still my winner pick.
Mine got voted off this episode and in episode 2.
Oh, queens.
Yeah. So we know that I'm terrible at picking winners.
So am I. And so is Dustin. Dustin picked the most recently eliminated player, went home 3rd from Survivor New York. That was Dustin's winner pick. So none of us are good at this. No.
The only time I ever had a good winner pick was Big Brother Canada 6, where it was to meet the people and said, I like you, I want you to win, and then they ended up winning. That's the only.
I like you.
I want you to win. I hope you do. And then, oh wow, you actually did. Yay. I don't care if everyone in the audience keeps saying the other person should have won.
Right. I got this. I did it. Well, so here's my question. Do you think Holly could beat Eric? Do you think that Eric is somebody that could succeed? I don't know. Do you think Holly could beat Eric?
I think it would be close, but no, because I feel like Eric will get all the Balder votes, because even though Hallie was on a try with majority Balder, he wasn't close with anyone other than May. He may get May's vote. I can see him getting Audrey's vote. Maybe Dorothy's vote. I say it'd be close, but I think out of everyone left, Hallie's the one with the least likely chance to win. I'm not saying GOAT level, like, oh, he's definitely not going to win because he's terrible. He can't play. I'm just saying out of the 8, right now, it seems he's the least likely.
Yeah, it's almost like now, sorry to Kat, but Kat on Survivor Michigan is never going to win the game, right? There is nobody.
No. I was trying to think of something to defend.
No offense to Kat, but she'll never see this. But there's nobody in this game. there's nobody in this game who is at a cat level, right? Everybody is
Yeah.
invested. Everybody would like to be here and like to participate. And so I don't see anybody as the GOAT yet. I think obviously with several votes ahead, things can change. And if people don't use any sort of, if they don't make any moves or they don't have any agency, they can certainly become a GOAT. But right now, everybody does have a little bit of agency and has made moves to benefit themselves. I think that if May isn't careful, she will just be seen as riding Sarah's coattails almost. I think in a way that like Devin got penalized in Survivor Michigan for being with Dylan.
Yeah.
And everybody sort of said like, oh well, you're just using each other. You're just skating by, and it's like, no, this is
both
very
using
legitimate.
each other as both of your reasons are the exact same.
Exactly. And so that's what like makes me nervous for May is I think that May could really struggle here if people don't think that May did anything but follow Sarah, which is why May needs to get out these threats on the other side. And I do think that May could do it if May appeals to Sarah and says, you're not going to beat Olivia, you're not going to beat Leo, you're not going to beat Corey, take them out now.
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll work.
Sarah is planning to take out Leo. I think she mentioned some points like, I know I can't beat Leo at the end, but for now we're working together. And I think Olivia said something similar as well. And I don't know if she was saying it just to please whoever she was talking to or if she actually meant it.
Yeah, but I'm rooting for May still. I think May has a lot of. I think May could do really well in a final tribal council performance. I think she's got the right combination of levity and charisma and sort of happiness, and is also very smart. And I think she could really defend herself well, but she needs the moves to defend. And I don't think she has them quite yet.
Yeah, if you can explain what you did well, usually it's never the best Survivor player to win, but the person who best conveys their game to the jury.
Exactly.
Look at Samoa, for example. Did the best player win? No. Did the person with the did the quote unquote best player win? No. Did the person who explained their game the best to the jury win? Yes.
Right. And
the quote unquote best player. I recently played a Survivor and everyone's talking about this is a mistake. Like, how do you know? Sorry, I'm venting.
Okay. No, I think that's fair. I think that like the thing is people will always say it's a mistake if it doesn't benefit their game, right? But in a lot of ways, getting to the end is very important. And if you align with people who get you to the end, I think that's half the battle, and you can't knock somebody for getting to the end with certain people. You know, some people have more agency in how they get to the end than others, but you know, if you get to the end and you beat other people, is it technically a mistake, or did I get to the end and you didn't?
Yeah, this is why I always say super fans are terrible at this game. Because they think they think they know the game because they watch a couple of seasons. You don't know the game Survivor, you know the show Survivor.
Fascinating. You know what? Have you put that on the Discord? That is a good quote.
Oh, I've said it many times to people. I've mentioned it. I even asked us to Peridium once. I used to be on Patreon. I was like, I've explained how I think superfans cannot play this game well because they think they know what they're doing.
Man, shout out to Peridium. Our buddy Billy, good dude. I'm probably going really slow right now. My internet's all over. But let's circle back. We have Eric on the list.
Eric. Good old salt into butter. Was it butter into salt?
Eric. I like Eric a lot, but you know, Eric, I think has a really tough road ahead of him, and I'd be shocked if he even makes it past this next vote. I think he's on the chopping block for sure. If Eric weasels his way out,
I can see him doing that.
Right, he's God tier, but I don't think he can.
Yeah, if he can just turn that salt into butter, he can somehow make it.
Yeah. Oh, God.
One day we'll figure out what that means. If he ever gets voted off and we have him on here, we have to ask him, what the fuck does that mean?
I know. I love Eric. I look forward to our Eric interview whenever that occurs.
Yeah. Could be next week. Could be till the end of the season.
Here's the one thing. If Audrey actually has any pull, she could keep Eric safe this round. And I think it would be in everybody else's interest to blindside somebody like Hallie and get Hallie out, because once you free up Hallie, then you have May for Sarah and you keep Eric in the game for Audrey. And it really kind of like doesn't, it benefits everybody in the majority alliance, right? But I think at the same time, you know, Eric could really do damage on a jury, and you don't want to let him get too far because he is likable. Like, look, he hasn't played.
He's charismatic.
Yeah, he's a nice little boy. Like, what? You're gonna vote for him.
Oh, what a nice little boy. He's definitely someone that can like liven up a room.
Yes, and I think again, like a good jury presence, right? Like we've seen reckless players win before, and we'll see them win again. Like it happens, and so I think you could very well. Chris T was very reckless, and then he turned that shit around. So, but he had a lot.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that.
You forgot that he showed up drunk to the first challenge like a king.
I forgot how messy he was. Like all pre-merge.
Messy. But the thing that I think Eric could do is he could actually guilt trip Audrey in a way that I think Leo wishes he could. But realistically, you just have to be. Audrey is a nice person, right? Audrey cares about the people she's playing with.
She's too innocent for this world.
Exactly. And so, go ahead.
If I want to make a comparison, in comparing her to a Disney character of all things, have you seen a show Girl Meets World?
No, I was somebody who was a child when Boy Meets World was on TV, so I couldn't bring myself to.
So for those in the area who know about this, she's a lot like the main character Riley, like innocent who you want to protect from the world. It's like sees the best in everyone.
I see what you mean. Yeah, that's that's a tricky one. I feel like Audrey is so sweet, but will that sweetness be her downfall? We're in a tough spot with Audrey, but I'm rooting for her. Like I want what's best for Audrey, and I want her to do well and be respected and be beloved. And so I hope that she can find her footing and make moves that help her get to the end. Those moves are going to be tough things, like cutting out Olivia. Like, it's going to be.
I don't see her doing it. I mean, we saw her not do it this episode. It's very rare that a nice someone that you describe as nice wins the show. Yep. I remember watching the Michigan pre-jury podcast, and Anders was on it, and he was like, "How would you describe these people?" And I think it was Eliza. She said, like, "Oh, they're nice," and it was like, "Okay, gone. Nice people don't win." And everyone was just like, yeah. And he's like, name a nice winner. And then immediately everybody said Mallory.
Yeah. Okay. And
your favorite winner.
Oh God. I'll tell you off air what I messaged Ian and Cooper about. So realistically, I think everybody is a great player right now. Everybody is enthusiastic and cares about the game. They don't all have the resume yet, but we're still at final 8, and there could be 5, potentially 6 votes left. So there's a lot of time to make a move, a lot of opportunities to do something big and shake up the game. And that's what I'm really looking forward to on this season. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great end game. We have quite a few episodes left, so stay tuned. Lee, who do you think might go home next?
I think definitely Eric and Hallie are probably in the most danger because they are the least connected people. Yeah. Leo is always somebody that could always be in danger because he's always presumed to be a threat. Audrey could be in danger for flipping. The other side could be upset with her and be like, can we just get her out? She's wishy-washy.
Yeah, that's a big danger for her.
Yeah. May could be voted off because people think everybody wants to work with May. We need to get rid of Sarah's power. Sarah could go home because people hate her or hate how she plays the game.
Okay, so if Eric could do this, if Eric and Audrey can do this, here's what they could do. They could go to Corey. So Eric and Audrey go to Corey, Leo, and Olivia, and they say, Sarah, Hallie, and May are a group of three that you need to get out right now, or they will stick by each other and save each other. So Eric says, save me one more round. Let's take out May or Hallie. I think that could totally work because I think that you don't want Sarah to get too much power. You don't want Hallie or May to make it further in the game and be there for Sarah as reinforcements. So I think if Eric wants to save himself, that's probably the move to make, right? Is say, let's work as a 5 and let's blindside the trio. They're not really a trio. I think it's really, that May has 2 friends that aren't necessarily tight with each other. But if you paint them as a trio, I think you could really work there.
Yeah, it really depends on wording. The one thing I can see that going wrong is I don't see the other side listening. I think something we learned, especially about Leo, these people are stubborn.
Yeah.
If they don't believe it, it's not real.
Yeah, and I think that as we saw with Leo a little bit in the past, like Leo kind of thinks he knows what is going on and doesn't really want to consider the coconut, right? Doesn't want to think about what else might be going on outside of his sort of domicile. So I think that if Leo can kind of open his eyes, especially like if people can really shake him to the idea that like this is really good for you, I think he would do it. I think Leo is willing to cut anybody. I think it's just, will it come and bite him in the end?
Yeah. And then another thing is, will Sarah play her idol when they do this? Let's say they do make this move. Sarah plays her idol. Goodbye anyone except Olivia, because I don't think Sarah would vote her.
Yeah, I do think a lot of what will eventually sort of come to fruition is, does Sarah have the guts and the gumption to vote out Olivia? Do Sarah and Audrey have the chutzpah to vote out Olivia? We will see. And I think if they do, they can win the game. I think Sarah could. I think Sarah could do it, but I think it could be too late. I think Sarah could recognize it, and by then it's like there's no chance.
Yeah, she has her idol. Nobody would vote her off. I can't think of a single person, even though she literally just got 4 votes and almost went home, that would get rid of Olivia, that would have the majority.
Exactly. Like Olivia is so well insulated, and I think that this is something I actually feel like people don't tout this enough in games, is when you're well insulated and other people are going home around you, whether you want them to go home or not, right? And it's not you. That is a sign of a good Survivor player who said, I've built up layers and layers of people who can go home before me to where the point where you're trying to get me out, it's too late and you can't do it. I think is a sign of a great Survivor player.
And the reason she was targeted this past episode was not because these people saw her as a threat. She was basically the person they thought wouldn't have an idol. So, this is their weakest person that nobody would play an idol for.
Yeah.
Because they're all scared of Leo. They all think Corey's a threat. They felt bad for Sarah. So she was just the only one left.
And let's not forget that basically what happened is she went home with Anthony went home, the only person who knew that she had the idol.
Yes, and no one else knows.
She's doing great. Like the only problem is maybe you don't have somebody who would tell you to play the idol, but Olivia lost essentially the person who could, and I don't think he would intentionally ruin her game, but could reveal a big thing about her game that would be pretty devastating to the rest of the group. And that's still kind of good for Olivia. I know she's upset, but it's not bad.
I'm trying to remember if Olivia did tell somebody about her idol this episode.
I don't think she did.
I don't think she told Leo. She could have told somebody out of sadness to be like, okay, I trust you.
She told Audrey, but I don't think she would have, because then that just goes everywhere.
I doubt she'd tell Audrey.
Yeah.
The only person I could see her telling is Leo, and I'm just trying to remember. For those watching, we did watch the episode. We just don't remember it that well.
To be fair, I have 2 other concurrent podcasts going right now about seasons that are also producing hour-long episodes. So forgive me.
Yes, we have. She has her own Survivor College to produce.
Oy vey, right? So I think that this next episode is going to be amazing. It's going to be Tuesday, literally tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Their YouTube channel, Scotty Survivor. You see it right down in this corner. And there you go. And make sure to support them. Join us on Discord where we talk about Scotty Survivor. Give them a comment. I think people don't recognize that comments on YouTube are some of the best ways to get other people, new people, to see your videos and see what's going on. And don't forget to support live reality games. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. I think we're still looking to hit those 200 subscribers on YouTube. So join us, won't you? It's a party. And Lee, thank you so much for being here as always. I love chit-chatting with you about these games. And everybody have a great night. Say goodbye to the folks at home, Lee.
Goodbye to the folks at home.